When A Plague Tale Innocence came out in 2019, it was a true surprise for everyone who played it. However, the game was still considered a AA game, and with the sequel, A Plague Tale Requiem, the developers from Asobo Studios strive from the very first second for a AAA experience. And in this 100% spoiler-free review, we are going to find out whether they succeeded in creating a worthy successor and if the action-adventure is worth your time and money. So let's talk about A Plague Tale Requiem. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with my 100% spoiler-free review for A Plague Tale Requiem. So you can really be sure you won't find any spoilers for either the story or anything else, and I even chose the footage here in a way that it does not give away anything that could ruin your playthrough. And if you like this approach to a review, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell. Okay, thank you guys so much for the support, you rock big time, and now let's talk about A Plague Tale Requiem, which by the way comes out on October 18th on PC, Xbox Series X and S and PS5 and is a day one launch for the Xbox Gamepass. This game is a direct successor to the 2019 surprise hit A Plague Tale Innocence, and if you have not played the first one, you can still play this one, although I highly recommend to play the first one because it's not only a good game, but of course a lot of the stuff happening in the second game builds upon the first one. But if you are fine with missing a few nuances in the game, you can definitely play this as a standalone experience. So in A Plague Tale Requiem, you will play again as Amicia and Hugo, who once again get pulled into an exciting adventure following a few events at the beginning of the game. Requiem is just like the first one, a very linear, narrative-driven third-person action-adventure that tells the story through seamless cutscenes in between certain checkpoints of the game, and the gameplay is a mixture in between stealth and action sequences. And this is one of the parts where the game really shines. The pacing of this game is amazing. You can find yourself walking through a lovely environment, listening to Amicia and Hugo chat about stuff, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. You get chased by hundreds of thousands of rats, or suddenly you get surprised by a bunch of soldiers trying to find you, and you end up in a stealth segment where you have to find a path through a certain area without the enemy finding you. You can use all sorts of things in the environment to achieve that. You can throw rocks against metal to distract the soldier, you can stealth kill them with a headshot of your sling, you can kill off a torch and let the rats take care of your persecutor, and a lot of other ways that I don't want to spoil here. In the beginning of the game, your arsenal is limited, but as you progress through the story, you will find different tools and items that help you either play more stealthy or make the fights more diverse. Oh, and by the way, the fighting, there are a lot of different new options here, and in total, Amicia became a lot more brutal than in the first game. While in part 1 she eventually also killed soldiers, this time she just takes enemies on from the very first second, and there are a lot of different new cool ways how you can actually kill someone off. You will also find different materials that either allow you to craft certain ammunition, or you can upgrade Amicia's weapons and tools on workbenches that you will find in your playthrough. And in between the fighting and stealth sequences, there are also sometimes certain riddles that want to be solved. You know, the classic video game stuff like moving certain cards around or pulling certain levers in the right order, or just bringing yourself in the right angle to shoot the lock of a door. Nothing mind-blowing new here, but it works really well in the overall pacing of the game. And by the way, speaking of pacing, in my 18 hours playthrough, and I didn't play it on easy, I played the game on normal, I never felt bored. I enjoyed the story twists, I enjoyed the mixture of fights, stealth and certain action sequences where you just run like all hell breaks loose, which it usually does with hundreds of thousands of rats chasing you. And yes, the rats are back, and they still give you either the creeps when you have to maneuver yourself through certain dungeons where your only friend is the light of your torch, and the game builds certain riddle mechanics around it where you need to figure out how to light up more torches in order to get to safety, or there are just so many rats that you just need to escape as quickly as possible to safety. The rats are really not the only thing that makes this game a very mature game. The way how Asobo depicts the brutality of the medieval villagers, soldiers and whatnot is incredible. You can walk in a city through a beautifully designed market and turn around the next corner and you find yourself in the butcher district with all sorts of gore on the floor, or you walk into an abandoned building and you see how a certain group tortured people with their limbs lying around. Everywhere is blood and gore, and sometimes you can almost feel feel and smell how disgusting this would be in reality, because the way how Amicia is voice acted and in the way how she reacts to the stuff in her environment makes her almost throw up, and it comes across really believable. And speaking of acting, the game's main protagonists are really well realized. The voice acting is top notch, the writing is superb and brings across the emotions in a believable way, and when you remember the first game, you know that sometimes certain lines were repeated over and over again, and this also got a lot better in A Plague Tale Requiem. And that's a great thing, because this really helps to transport the story of the game. And again, I'm not spoiling here anything, but let me tell you, this is a really engaging story, full of emotions, plot twists, and most importantly, it does not feel stretched out. I mentioned it already, it took me 18 hours to finish the game. I would say you could do it also probably in around 15 hours, or take your time and collect all the collectibles and stuff and take a little bit more than 20 hours. But nevertheless, we don't have it too often that these linear games can keep the player engaged from start to finish, and after my playthrough I already miss our main protagonists because they really grow on you. The story will take you to a lot of different locations, and this is also something where A Plague Tale Requiem shines. The diversity in the environments is insane, from beautiful medieval cities to the lush meadows to creepy dungeons to beautiful coast sides to big castles, you name it. The game blows you away with incredibly diverse set pieces that can be drop dead gorgeous and incredibly epic. And this diversity in the set pieces alone make the game never feel boring or repetitive. And by the way, the game itself is incredibly gorgeous. We know that Asobo Studio can nail graphics. They have shown that with the flight simulator, and they created their own engine, and in A Plague Tale Requiem this engine shines. Not only is the lighting incredibly well realized and the textures are of superb quality, but they also added a lot of improved physics simulations where, for instance, your environment now interacts a lot better with the characters. I must say, at times this game can be one of the most beautiful games I've seen to date. Granted, I played it on PC, I didn't have access to the console versions, but I played around a little bit with the settings and reduced the level of detail and stuff, and in almost all settings the game looks phenomenal. I also did not encounter any significant bugs. I had one sequence where I noticed a significant drop off in frames, but that's about it. Of course, occasionally you have these minor collision errors, but overall the game made a very polished impression. And again, the graphical fidelity that Asobo pulled off in this one is just stunning. And thanks to the fantastic art style and the color choices, this game is a real looker. The audio is also very well done. I already mentioned the great voice acting, but also the music fits in perfectly. The mixture of medieval choirs, bombastic orchestras, or just chill medieval tunes really help the immersion in this fantastic world.
A castle?
Let's go see!
All right then, time to run.
But with that, I already want to come to my conclusion. A Plague Tale Requiem is one of the best games I've played this year. I've said it in my intro, Asobo strives with this game for a AAA blockbuster experience from the very first second, and they succeeded. A Plague Tale Requiem is an incredible ride with fast-paced action sequences, adrenaline-inducing stealth sequences, calming and or emotional moments, unexpected plot twists and epic set pieces. The story of Amicia and Hugo really got to me, and the world is so full of detail and is created to immerse yourself in an epic adventure. The medieval setting comes across really believable, and most importantly, I just had a blast playing it, and that's why I score A Plague Tale Requiem as a 9.4. And with that, I want to wrap it up. I definitely want to know from you if you found this review helpful in your decision whether to play it or not, and if you have already played it or started it, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button, and maybe even turn on the notification bell. I would greatly appreciate it. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel with the channel memberships to get early access to all my videos, or with simply being there at the weekly gaming show I have here on my channel. You guys are the best community there is. And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter or TikTok, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I see you the next time, and game on!